Is that possibly good?
Well, relative to Krieger's asshole. And to this. Seriously, where do you keep the fruity drink powder? I'd even take root and toot and raspberry.
How noble.
Well, no, I'd still bitch about it. And I think I've run that right.
Babe.
Yeah.
It's up.
This is up?
It's up. Hey, that was quick. Wow, there's a lot more people on like immediately. I thought it was like super late. Hey guys.
No,
It's super late.
I did mine. Like, right at first, I didn't mind, and I started mine at
Jesus Christ. Okay. Hi guys. All right. So today we are making blue cheese and green onion crusted bone-in pork chops with green bean and grape tomato almondine, because they just have to make it all fancy. So that is what we're making. I love their pork chops. Home Chef has excellent pork chops. The meat quality is like look at these bitches. They're like thick. They're not like all frumpy and ridiculous. Cool. So first thing, I already have the oven preheated, and I've cut off the ends of the green beans because you guys don't need to watch me do that. But that's all I've done so far, and I washed all the produce and everything. So, first thing, have grape tomatoes, trim the ends off green beans, already did that, and then green onions. So, tomatoes are first. Let me get a bowl. That is not good enough. Crazy. Alright. Yep. Nope. Stay. Okay. So we're going to have these and then just stick them in a bowl. Yeah. So. I'm like super in love with this knife set. Super professional. Have tomatoes. Next, green onions. Okay. Do I need to keep the... I do not have to separate.
It's Justin.
Finally! Alright, we have to crank up the dick jokes.
All the dick jokes.
All the dick jokes. Okay. They don't have me separate the greens and the whites. There's no segregation today, so... Oh, Christ. Alright.
Justin.
You came in at just the right time.
What's up, Justin?
Just the right time.
Does this make it look like I'm compensating for something? No?
No, that's just you, honey. Okay. So... So they don't have us separate it, so I'm just gonna fucking... They say thinly sliced, so I'm trying not to make these like huge ass chunks. This goes in with blue cheese and gets put on top of the pork, so I have to make sure it is gonna look right. Oh my god, there's like tiny little onions everywhere now. Okay. I have it together, I swear.
Highway to the danger zone.
Also, Also, we have Archer going on in the background, so... Or we did, anyway. So what is everybody doing for the weekend? Tell me. I want to... Inquiring minds want to know.
Jessica tips his fedora.
Okay. There we go. Sometimes
Justin says he has a cold.
Oh no. Man, colds are literally the worst.
They are. They're literally.
Literally the worst. Not figuratively. No sickness on earth can ever compare to a man cold.
True story. Lana gets it. Anita says she loves that knife.
Thank you. That's, Judy. Yep. There we go. Okay. A lot of little green onions. Tiny pile. Also good. Those are gonna go in a bigger bowl with the blue cheese. Blue cheese, green onions, and a pinch of pepper in a small mixing bowl. Okay, so we have these. We're gonna go in here. And Bago blue cheese crumbles. Yeah, Judy, I am really obsessed with this knife set. Like, it's got a nice, like, weight to it, and the blades are, they're still, like, really new, so I haven't used them all that often. But the blades are really nice. I really like this one. Okay, so trying to break these crumbles down a little more. Normally, I fucking hate blue cheese. So, for some reason, like... There are certain instances where I hate blue cheese, and there are certain instances where I love blue cheese. And so I honestly, apparently have no idea how I feel about blue cheese, because it always fucking changes. Okay. Fat pork chops, dry, seasoned with salt and pepper. Okay, that's the easy part. Get my salt. These have already been patted down with a paper towel just to dry them off. Dry off the package goop. The package always has goop. Thoroughly season your pork chops with salt and pepper on both sides. Kind of press it into the skin just to give it a good sear. Because you want a crispy crust. And I'm going to do kind of a wide...
Jack says, or Justin says, the blue cheese is awesome, and how dare you?
Okay, so I'm going to do kind of a wide grain pepper, not real fine grind, because that also helps get a good crust. All about a good crust. One side, other side. Excuse you. Salt and pepper on the meat. Always season your meat. Soak up all the salt and pepper that's left on the cutting board. Get the most out of your ingredients. Okay. So now we're going to sear the pork chops. So, get my pan. Now we're going to turn this bitch up to medium high. Alright. Pork chops to a hot pan and cook until a caramelized crust begins to form, 2 to 3 minutes on each side. So essentially what we're going to do, what they do with meat most of the time is they sear it to get a crust, because that makes flavor, colors flavor, and then they bake it. So we're going to put it in the oven to actually cook on the inside. So in the meantime, while we wait for the shit to heat up, I'm going to read ahead in the recipe so that I don't get halfway through the recipe and not know what the fuck I'm doing. Oh, interesting. They have these, like, notes on the side, like tips and tricks and stuff. So it says, while you cook, heads up, green onions are used twice. Most are mixed... Oh, I'm smart. See, this is why you read the recipe, guys. Most are mixed with blue cheese for crust, and a pinch garnishes the dish. So, fortunately, I actually still have some green onions that were in the sink that were just, like, extra bits because I thought that I had too much. But now I'm just going to cut those up for the garnish. So I don't need a whole lot if it's just garnish. I just need, like, mostly the green tops. But yeah, that's why you fucking read the recipe in its entirety. Cool. And I will put that in this little guy. Every ingredient should have a space or container of some sort, because then otherwise shit gets all mixed together and it gets crazy. So over here, heads up while you cook. And then the other one, because we're toasting almonds in here, it says, dry toasting almonds brings out their aroma and flavor. Transfer almonds to a plate as soon as they start to brown, as residual heat from the pan can burn nuts. You don't want to burn your nuts. So I've heard. And the other section says, from the chef, bone-in pork chops have a tendency to curl or cup when pan-seared. Fish do this too, also. To prevent this, use a sharp knife to slice very shallow cuts spaced 2 inches apart into the outer edge of fat on pork chops before cooking. Interesting. Like on the side, or... Okay. And then another, did you know? Invented centuries ago, probably accidentally, blue cheese gets its distinctive blueness and flavor from injecting it with a specific strain of penicillin. The more you know. Okay. Alright, well before I do this, I'm gonna... I guess I'm gonna try to cut the fat... Oh, I see what they're talking about, like this stuff around here. So what I'm gonna do is... Oh yeah, that's nice. Okay. Is I'm essentially going to just slice the fat at about... probably less than 2 inches, but that's okay. I'm just gonna, this is called scoring. Basically, when you slice the top layer, it gives it a little bit of flexibility so that when it cooks, if it starts to buckle or cup like that, it stays flat and it cooks flat. Because when it buckles up, then you're just cooking the center and the edges don't get cooked evenly, and you always want it to cook evenly. So you can do this with if you cook anything skin on, really. I notice this especially with salmon. I love cooking fresh salmon with the skin on, but it also tends to buckle like that. So you just, you have to scale it first because no fucking knife, no matter how fucking sharp, that I own will cut through fucking fish scales. So scale the bitch and then slice the skin going, so like if it's a long thin steak like this, you want to cut it going crossways, that way it lays flat and doesn't buckle up on the corners. Okay, stove is hot, so come over here.
Here's the Justin's the only one on there.
Perfect. Justin, it's just us. Which is fine, because he has to make up for ditching us tomorrow.
Oh, snap. Well, he's sick. I mean,
but he wasn't coming because he had other stuff to do, not because he's
now
sick.
he's sick and he doesn't have anything to do at all.
Oh, that's true. Well, I hope I'm at least mildly entertaining. Okay, so we got oil in the pan and it's starting to smoke already. That's how you know it's hot. So I'm going to lay this in.
That's right. If something is smoking, then it's hot.
You know what?
That was a side comment, don't mind me.
You being petty on my show?
I am not being petty.
So it says 2 to 3 minutes on either side. So I try to leave them as undisturbed as possible so that you get a nice even sear. So I'm going to wash this. Bring this around. So I am going to start taking a poll for what nerd food to make, and I got to figure out when I'm going to do that, because I really want to do, like either a beverage and a food, or 2 types of both, depending on like what's available. Like, cause there's some things have recipes for like just food, some things have just drinks, or whatever. But ideally, I'd like to do something that's like a food item and a beverage item. So I know I've gotten
wait. No, the back of my head is ridiculous.
The back of your head is ridiculous. I've gotten requests for Harry Potter. I've gotten requests for Lord of the Rings. I've gotten requests for Portal Cake. There's pies and a couple other things. I just added a whole fuck ton of stuff. But I'm going to put out a poll soon, so hopefully you guys will be able to see me do some nerd food soon. Also, I have shit to make chili. I don't know if Kim is going to watch this tonight or ever, but my godmother, Kim, makes literally the best Cincinnati-style chili ever, and she uses beer and dark chocolate, and it's so good. But I can never get a fucking recipe from her because she just like wings it. Most of the time she knows what's in it, but there's no rhyme or reason to it. So I finally got ingredients and something that kind of resembles a recipe for the chili. So I'm thinking I'm going to do that at some point. But I wanted to make it first before I do it on a stream so that I know what the fuck I'm doing. And I'm not just kind of like flying by the seat of my pants on live Facebook. Okay, so just checking the color on these. Yeah. Okay, so you see that like golden brown crusty crispiness? That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to add a little more oil, and then I'm going to get it on the other side. Yep. Yeah. It's got really good color on it. Just make sure that it all sears evenly, otherwise there's no fucking point, is there? I love the way pork smells when it cooks. Alright, I'm going to let that sit for just a second. Hello, Victoria. Alright. So we're going to wait a few minutes for that to go, and then we'll get them in the oven. And then after that, we toast our nuts, and then we mix in the tomatoes and the green beans and stuff. This one actually isn't going to take all that long, thank God. This is really pretty simple. For you ladies, since you just joined, this is what we're making. Bone-in pork chop. And I really like the level of, they have like levels of difficulty on the thing. So you can pick stuff that's like super easy to make, or stuff that's like technically complex, or has like cooking techniques that are a little difficult or something. And I always really like making the difficult ones, like intermediate or higher ones, because it kind of tests my skill with like knife skills or presentation, making like extra shit like compound butters and like all of that. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so I think I got good color on both sides, so I'm going to put these on the cutting board to rest. Cool. Do I have to wipe out the pan? Probably do. Wipe pan, clean, and reserve. That just means reserve the pan. There's nothing like, sometimes it'll have you save the, what's called fond, which is, this shit, that stuff that sticks to the bottom of the pan and all the oil. I'm really a big fan of reserving the stuff in the pan because it still has a lot of flavor in it and it can add a lot to the dish. So if it doesn't tell me to do that, I still try to find a way to work it in anyway. So I'm going to take all this and I'm going to add it to the pork while it's resting, so it keeps a little bit of that flavor. 1 second.
Please hold.
Please hold. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Are you tired of cooking?
In general. You're tired of cooking? Hire me, I'll do it for you. Glenn Goulding, for the best of times. Okay, so now I'm going to do the really super entertaining thing and wash this pan. Mostly I'm just going to rinse it out. Woo! Alright. Steamy.
Justin says that he never knew that what it was called on the bottom of the pan.
Oh, fond? Yeah. F-O-N-D. It took me a while to find that out after having cooked for a while, but then someone told me and I was like, I didn't know that had like a name. It was just the shit at the bottom of the pan. Okay. So, dry pan, clean pan, and now we add the nuts. Okay. No oil needed for this one. We're just putting the dry nuts in. Justin, you picked a really good recipe to come in on. Not a lot of meat jokes, but we're all about the nuts today. Okay. I left it on the heat, so it's still on medium-high. So I need to bring it down to medium, so I'm going to turn it down just a little. Stir often to toast evenly. So instead of stirring, really not a whole lot going on right here. So we're going to toast the nuts and then set them aside. It's weird having this stuff in here without any oil is just like really odd for me. Oh, that is moisture on the outside of the pan from the sink that's popping against the it's fine. Everything is fine.
Fine.
This is fine. Justin, we're all 12. It's not just you.
Yeah.
That's why we gravitate towards each other. Okay, these are taking forever. 2 to 4 minutes. That's a long time in Facebook land. I don't... Okay. That's fine, I guess. Oh, so while I'm waiting for this to warm up, we can put the pork in the fucking oven because we have to bake it. Alright, so we're going to top these bitches with the blue cheese mixture and then put them on our prepared baking sheet and then put them in the oven to finish cooking. So, I'm going to tilt off some of the juices for the moment, just so I can get a decent crust on here. Okay, so, mix in the pepper. So I'm going to try to divvy this up so that we get an even amount on both chops. And I'm using a fork because the tines of the fork are going to help keep the mixture separated and crumbly, which will give you the consistency that I'm looking for when it melts. Because I want it to be crusty, but I still want it to also look a little crumbly as well. So I'm just spreading this around. There we go. And it says to like press down on it, just like you do with the salt and pepper when you're seasoning, because it gives it just a little bit more of a crust. And we want it to form a layer over top, because it's going to go in the oven, so it's going to melt. So when it melts, we want it to melt all in like a sheet. Okay. Alright, so press down. Shake the nuts a little. Oh yeah, okay. Alright, these are going to go on the aluminum foil that has been sprayed with olive oil cooking spray already. So that's what they mean by prepared baking sheet. These bitches are going to go in the oven. 7 to 9 minutes.
Not wine.
No, it's not. Oh, wait, but hang on.
Nobody has wine?
Wait. Yes!
Yeah.
I have some Moscato left. Thank you, Victoria. Although part of me really doesn't want to drink right now, because I swear to God. Okay. 7 minutes. And then I'll check in and see how much it's... Oh, God, it's freaking sweet. Okay, so we have toasted the nuts. They are brown. You can see some of them a little more brown than I'd like. So I'm going to take these off and put them into a little prep bowl. So that they do not burn. do not need to rinse this because we're just going to put the vegetables in here. So, medium heat, butter, green beans, 1/4 cup of water. Okay. 1/4 cup. Where's my... Here we go. I love these. A, because they have the angle reader or whatever, so you can look down at it and it gets right. But I also like this because it's really tiny. This tells me ounces and tablespoons. And yeah, I know it's backwards, but sorry. And this whole thing is essentially a 1/4 cup. So it gives me that measurement too. So if it says 1/4 cup of water, then I know it's just one of these tiny little things. I also use this when I make beverages, like alcoholic beverages. Like when I make old fashions, I always use this as my measuring cup. Okay, butter. I'm going to put the butter in first. So we got the 3 pats of butter that came with it. No, it's soft. There we go. Phrasing. Are we still doing phrasing? Or? Okay, so I'm just swirling the butter around to get it unbubbly. Because I don't want it to burn. That sound was the fucking pan buckling because it's fucking hot in the oven, but don't worry, nothing broke. Alright, so now we have melted butter. I'm gonna go in here, and then yeah, fats and water, that totally mixes. Okay, cover and cook until beans are bright green, 3 to 4 minutes. Yay, more waiting. Woo! I mean, they're already a bright green. Does that count? There we go. All right. So, 3 to 4. Okay, so basically the pork should be done about the same time as the beans. And then from there, we're going to add in the grape tomatoes for another 3 to 4 minutes. And then the toasted almonds and salt and pepper. And then that's it. So we're almost done. We're like 5-6 minutes away probably. So good. So good. Okay. So, I have run out of things to talk about.
Hold me close now, tiny dancer.
Hold me close now.
Tony Danza.
Tony Danza. So, what do I do when I run out of things to talk about? I do dishes. But seriously though, like if you have downtime in the kitchen, fucking do dishes. Wash them by hand. It takes like 10 seconds. It's really not a huge deal. And it's less dishes that you then have to do down the road. Because nobody likes doing dishes. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the juices from the pork chop and I'm going to put them in with the green beans. Actually, I kind of like the way the green beans are looking right now, so I may take them out a little early. Okay, so meat juice goes in with the green beans. And Larry, do you want to have a floor show for my show intermission when I have nothing to talk about? Okay. So the beans are definitely a bright green. my bright ass beans. So I'm going to go ahead and add the tomatoes. Even though it hasn't been 4 minutes. It's okay. I cook with tomatoes and beans so often, I know them. Okay. Putting stuff away. Okay. Recover. Ooh, I want to broil these. So I'm taking a look at the pork chops, and the blue cheese is definitely melting, but I really want to broil the tops to get like a more cooked, like that crispy, oh my god, crusty, whatever the fuck. Yes, stop, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to turn the broiler on high and let that go for a few minutes, because once the pork comes out of the oven, it's basically going to be ready to go. So I'm just going to melt and sort of cook the top where the cheese is. And then while that's going, basically all I'm doing with the green beans and the tomatoes is I'm cooking down the liquid in here. I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Deviating! I do rather enjoy deviating from the recipe, because that to me means that I am confident enough in my skill as a home cook to change something and have it still turn out as good or better than the original recipe. Always make something the way that it's written first, the first time you make it, because if you change something, you have to know that it's what it's going to do. Like, you can't just go in and start making a recipe having never tasted it before and go, you know what, I'm going to fuck around and change this, that, and the other. You could end up making it better. You could also end up making it way worse. So it's better to know like where you're starting from, have a control, and then decide, oh, this had too much salt, or I'd prefer to use this vegetable instead of that vegetable. But you won't know that unless you try it the way that it's written first. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add the almonds. And okay, that's basically, yeah, as soon as these are done, like a little bit of liquid in here still, so I'm trying not to. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I like the way that looks. Cool. Oven's off. Pork's coming out. Yeah, that's nice and melty. And then I'll turn off the oven. Okay. So I'm going to take you guys while the last of this liquid is cooking off the vegetables. I'm going to take you over to the pork so you can see what this bitch looks like. So you see that melty, like, goodness right there? It smells really good, also. I also cook, you cook with all your senses, so, like, it's really important to pay attention to how things smell, how they taste, how they look, how they feel, not just while you're eating, but, you know. Good. Sweet. That is done. So, now we are on to my favorite part, which is plating. And again, always use the small plates. Petitos. And I am done, and this is clean, so I'm going to put this back. Okay. So, I'm going to reference the picture, because I always try to set it up presentation-wise, just like the picture. So basically, it looks like they just have the plate of veggies in the back, and then like the pork chop kind of sat up behind it. So, I'm going to get these on plate as evenly as possible, because I try to make sure like we both have the same amount of stuff, but sometimes it doesn't always work out like that. Yeah. We have the veggies and such on the plate. This one probably has a little more, but it's fine. So now, I also got to figure out which one I'm going to take a picture of so that I can taste the other one. Okay. It's down here where the magic happens. So I also have to consider what orientation I'm going to be taking the picture from. So I want there to be like a little of everything on the plate, but I also want it to look like appetizing and shit, so. Okay, so we have our pork chops, like meow, and I think I'm going to try, where was okay, we're going to cut into the larger one, so it's this one here. So the cook on that, it's hard to see in the light, but it is, there's no like pink, it's all white and it's shiny on the, in between, like in the meat fibers. It's what's called glistening, and that's what you want. So let me try this. Alright, fucking perfection. Okay. Hang on, I have to go feed the man thing.
Yep, that is on point.
That is so good. Okay, so now we're just going to garnish with a little bit of more green onions, which is cool. I love green onions, so I'm not opposed. Okay, awesome. That was, where is it? Here we go. So once again, it says blue cheese and green onion crusted bone-in pork chops with green bean and grape tomato almondine. That's what it looks like there. That's what it looks like there for your comparison. Close, almost. So, until then, be good if you can't be good, be safe. If you can't be safe, don't get caught. I will try very hard to keep going weekly, but sometimes shit happens, life happens, and I will keep you guys posted when I do my next stream. Between now and next time, I'm going to be putting up a poll for nerd food preferences. So if you guys have any particular fandoms you want to see, and I don't mean just like nerd themed food, like Minion cupcakes or something like that. Like, that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at like actual food that is from books, movies, video games, TV shows, whatever, like actual food recipes. I will put something up. You guys can vote on it and figure out what I'm going to do first. Eventually I'll get around to all of them, but for the first one we'll have to find something really cool. So, until then, PoleChef out, and good night.